Today we are using the perfected One Punch Man build. If you're a hunter, then you are already familiar with this build. If you're new to the game and you love playing hunters, well, I got a treat for you. This build right here, hunters use it to basically can clear any hard end content, okay? It takes a lot of skill and finesse though. I'll be honest with you. It's not one of them builds you can just turn your brain off and everything works like the other prismatic builds. This build, you gotta know how to position yourself and everything. It can work in -50 content. There's no -40 right here, but it does work in -50 content. And basically you can one-shot champions with this build. You can my bad, she was talking over me. You can one-shot champions in this build. You can freaking nuke bosses with this build as long as you know what you're doing. You can get Void Overshield all day in this build. You break these off. Yep, break these off, break these off. Alright. Blind everything in this build. You just got everything in this build, okay? And all it takes is a little bit of good skill finesse so you can get away with said thing, okay? You see, I'm in -40 and this feels like a cakewalk how I'm killing these enemies. It feels like a cakewalk. They're just dying immediately. Oh, the tangle blew up. As you see, everything just dying before I can even do what I want to do. Get the wizard up out of here. We just like we're for none of the BS. You know what I'm saying? We're for none of the BS. We get these people up out of here immediately. Even this champion. He didn't get hit directly. That's what happened. I was like, what happened? He supposed to be dead. Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Get him up out of here. You know what I'm saying? One shot him. Like we're for none of the BS. That's what I mean by this build is cracked, okay? Okay, we're gonna set a tether right here. And come here real quick. Come here real quick. Stop running from me. Stop running from me. And just gonna keep grappling melee off of this tangle. Ah, he running away. He running away. We gotta come over here. We gotta come over here. There's more enemies. He running away. Grab melee him again. Go invisible. Melee. Yep. You know? I'm not even doing it perfectly too. But we got our tether back. And now I can do it perfectly. Can I have a tangle here? Shotgun. Grapple again. Punch him again. And you're dead, bro. Just die. Just die. You're dead, bro. You're dead. You're dead. And you can see the combo basically you using a tangle that's in the area and just keep infinitely grappling off of it. And just basically melee everything in the room because you're going to have infinite grapples from you doing that. And you just throw in some shotgun pellets in there. Like you'll just shotgun and then grapple melee, shotgun, grapple melee. And yeah, you just nuke everything. Okay? Now, to the build. What up, guys? Alchemist here. I got something nice for you. So today we are using the ultimate perfected One Punch Man build. And the exotic we are using is the exotic class item. And the perks we have is Spirit of Inmost Light. This is how we get in our grapple grenade back as quick as possible. And we have Spirit of Synthoceps. This allowing our melee damage / grapple melee to do even more damage when we're surrounded by enemies. That's why I say repositioning is everything with this build. You get it's a skill ceiling. You gotta know what you're doing and moving quick with it. Okay. Now, armor stats you want to go for. The stats you want to go for is you trying to aim for 200 grenade stat and as much melee stat as possible, because both of these influence the damage of your grapple melee. But grenade has a higher bonus damage when it comes to getting over 200. If you get 200, it gets to like 65% extra damage, while melee only goes to 30%. So you want to prioritize grenade first, then melee. Me, I'm actually kind of lucky. I have the Warmind 2-piece in my stat spread. and it just ended up being the right armor for it perfectly, I guess I should say, because whenever I do get like a group of enemies killed from just one grappling melee, I do get a stack of Rasputin's Wrath, and Rasputin Wrath give you plus 30 weapon and grenade stat, so that's making my grenade stat go to 200 without me having to play around with other armor. Okay, but that's what you want to do. Armor set bonus, I'm gonna be honest with you, you don't need any real armor stat bonus the way I set this up. Armor set bonus the way I set this up. If you want to just feel like you have to have an armor set, you can go Exodus down for that extra 30% damage reduction just for the free skis. Since you are at close quarters non-stop. You could go 2-piece Swordmaster to exhaust enemies when you punch them, but it's not a necessity. You could go Crota 4-piece. You get the 2-piece that every punch do a curse through all explosion if you like kabloomies, and then the 4-piece give you 25% damage reduction while you're in a fight. Truly up to you. Now, if you're trying to go for these stats, I recommend you doing Demolitionist, and then trying to get because Demolition give you grenade and class stat. You do need at least 65 class stat in your build, so you can do the shade step melee combo combination below. So I recommend Demolitionist, and then try to get the third stat to be melee. And then you only need 3 arm pieces for that. And then your 4th one can be like Grenader to get like a big chunk of grenade energy, grenade stat for your build. Or you just go Demolition again, just get some more class stat if you want. And then your class item, I don't know if you can change the stats on your class item. I think it's preset, but yeah, that's what you will aim for. Demolitionist armor set, okay, with a third stat being melee. Now, weapons. I'm using Swordbreaker because Swordbreaker has 1-2 punch, but it also rolls with Slice, so that I can make the enemies do 40% less damage to me. If you're a person that loves the Tablet of Ruin artifact, then this allows you to still run the Tablet of Ruin. I understand Tablet of Ruin is the meta artifact, the strongest artifact to choose. So you can go with Swordbreaker if you're looking for a shotgun. They got Slice and 1-2 punch to increase that damage of your melee by 150% after you shoot the shotgun. But yeah, and then I'm just running an anti-barrier freaking weapon in my secondary. It can be whatever you want it to be. And then I got Truth on because Truth is just a strong weapon. Like, come on now. And it's unstoppable. So that's all of my champions covered, okay? The artifact I recommend, besides Tablet of Ruin, and I guess you could kind of go Hunter's Journal, but I'm going with Encrypted Data Disk, because Encrypted Data Disk make it that I get Taser Tag, which basically make it that my arc power melee, which I'm doing non-stop, combination below. My melees now jolt enemies immediately, and it keep doing extra tick damage to them, which activate the jolt as well. So this is extra damage on me just punching people regularly or my regular melee to get the combination below stacks going. I got Armorsmith on. Armorsmith making that if I break any enemy shield, I get 100% increased melee damage for 6 seconds and 10% damage resist. So just breaking any shield, I just get dumb melee damage, right? We got Singularity Blade on. As long as I got a Void Elemental buff on, my melees weaken people, and I do a weakening burst whenever I kill people, making that I do 15% more damage with my punches, no matter what. I know Stash Executioner already does weakening. This just making that I do a weakening burst, basically. We got Blinding Jolts, which is very important here. This goes perfect combination with Taser Tag. Because my melee gonna always be jolting people, final blows on jolted combatants blind nearby combatants. So it do a big blind explosion, making that the enemies are always blinded while I'm going invisible, and I could just have my way with them, okay? I know freaking Tablet of Ruin has Photonic Flare on it, where you melee kill a exhausted enemy. Well, if you kill an exhausted enemy with arc damage or a separate enemy with arc damage, do a blinding burst. The thing with this is Photonic Flare blind burst isn't as big as the one I just talked about in the artifact. It is way smaller, so you're not really blinding that many people. And if you're trying to do the Sword Master combo with it, where your melees do exhaust, your melee gonna be killing things before the exhaust even get triggered. So you're not gonna be you're really not gonna be activating Photonic Flare. I tested it. It's not doing the job that you think it's gonna be doing. Okay, so I highly recommend going Encrypted Data Disk with Blinding Jolts, because the blind explosion from Blinding Jolts is way bigger and way more useful, and you get to jolt people with Taser Tag and make them stun locked. We got Dielectric on in this build as well, And this making that we always gonna be killing art debuff people because the taser tag jolting people and this blinding people. So we always gonna have bolt charges on us and always getting small amount of health and ore spawn from us doing so. We got fierce on whatever, so we can finish remove people, and get some grenade and melee energy if I ever finish remove champion stuff with like special finisher. And then we have on power from pain, so I get devour in my build from killing weakened enemy, meaning I get my grapple melee back quicker, meaning I get to grapple melee even more in nuke rooms. So I really love that we will have devour in our build as well from this artifact, which I can't get from Tablet of Ruin. But if you are just gun ho for Tablet of Ruin because you want the whiff and mail going on, because our shotgun do slice, and then you can shotgun then melee them. It goes perfect with the 1-2 punch combo. You shotgun them once, it puts slice in them, and then you punch them and kill them, and then they make a whiff and mail hotspot for you to get health and whiff and mail. It is a perfect combination. You got dielectric here, but you won't be doing Jonas stuff. But this what you have on your Tablet of Ruin: 2 shreds, defibrillating blast, core shuttle, flash over, harsh refraction if you use a microcosm. If not, you can choose whatever you want here. I would say go with like Val Weave, so your tangles sever as well, and you can make more tangles out there quicker, so you can grapple off in them as a grapple point to grapple melee. And then you got dielectric, and then you got Photon Flare, like I said, if you do end up going the 2-piece Sword Master. I don't recommend it, but it is there. And the third option, you could go Hunter's Journal, go Shield Crush. Shield Crush will make you a grapple melee. If you got both on, if you got a Void Over Shield on and M5s, which you should be in this build, your grapple melee do 24% more damage. Your melee do 50% more damage if you're just doing a regular melee. But you got Shield Crush here, you got Shock and All to jolt people when you melee and whatnot. You got Bad Amplitude, Void Hegemony, so that you all get a Void Over Shield whenever you weaken people, which you will be doing because Stash Executioner. Radiant Orb to have Radiant O non-stop, and then Energy Fusion and Elemental Siphon. So those are some artifact options you can go with, but I highly recommend Encrypted Data Disc. All 3 work though. All 3 of them work. Subclass. We're having Shadow on, so we get 30% more damage to enemies when we tether them, and then we just grapple melee all of them together and just nuke them. But also too, we get a Void Over Shield with Faster to Purpose, 70% damage reduction in HP, extra HP, so just very good all around. We have Gambler Dodge on to do combination blow, combo, you know, melee, shade step, melee, shade step, you get both of them back off each other. That's the combo. Combination blow, buffs up grapple, so we're using grapple melee to nuke everybody. That's the whole point of the build. Dash Executioner, yeah, put us invisible, but mainly here for the 300% extra melee damage that it does when you melee somebody when you get out of Envious. If you're wondering, how do you pull that off, Alchemist? When you do an action, when you do grapple while invisible, you get out of Envious and you don't get Stash Executioner. Quite simple. All you do is, when you activate Stash Executioner, you want to use your grenade before Stash Executioner proc. So I'm finna shade step and slow this goblin. I know my melee gonna kill him, meaning I'm gonna go invisible. So right after my melee, I'm gonna immediately press my grenade button. So I'm in my grapple before I get envious from Stash Executioner, and then I get the extra damage from the Stash Executioner. So shade step, punch, grenade, I'm invisible, melee. I did that dumb damage because I was invisible and able to grapple melee while Stash Executioner was active. So that's all you do. You just grapple before the envious proc on you, and you will get the melee buff 300% for your grapple melee. And then we got on Winter Shroud. This making it that we can activate Stash Executioner consistently, because every time we shade step, we slow people. That's a debuff. We punch them, we kill them. Boom, they're dead. But also too, we get 50% damage reduction every time we shade step with Winter Shroud for 4 seconds. So even more survivability. We have on Faster Protection to give us 15% damage reduction when we're near people. We purposely doing that because of Synthoceps for the extra melee damage from Synthoceps. We will not be proccing Prismatic, Transcendence, whatever in this build because we're trying to spam grapple melee, so don't do that. We got on Faster Courage. Faster Courage make it that our light abilities, Arc, Solar, or Void abilities, deal increased damage to targets afflicted by Darkness debuff. That's where when the Shroud comes into effect, I slow people, that's a Darkness debuff, and then I can melee them with Combination Blow. Now what they don't tell you is, Faster Courage buff up all ability damage by 10, the light abilities by 10% if they're like anything else like Grenade or Super. But if it's a melee, Faster Courage actually buffs your damage up by 50%. So that's making our Combination Blow do 50% more damage when we punch people that are affected by us shade stepping all day. Faster Courage for the, Faster Purpose for the Void Overshield, like I said. And then we have Faster Sacrifice on purely for the plus 10 grenade stat. That's the only reason this here. Only reason. Okay. So this is a free flex fragment slot right here. I recommend using it for stats. Okay. You do not need faster to die because we're punching all day. We rarely using our weapon. I mean, we're using 1-2 punch shotgun, but the melee doing the damage, not the weapon. Okay. And then our armor mods, dynamo, and hands-on. This is how we get on super bat very quick, because every time we shake step near people, we get a chunk of super energy, and then we melee killing people all day, chunk of energy as well, super energy as well. And then I got harmonic siphon on if I'm using a void weapon, like, you know, word of crowd or something like that, for anti-barriers make orbs from shooting at. We got 3 heavy-handed on, so every melee kill I do make an orb power with no cooldown, so I can just melee people all day, and there's always an orb power out there that I can pick up a faster to purpose to give me a void overshield. We have on 3 resist mods on our chest piece. We made sure melee damage resistance is on because we're close quarters to people. Within 5 meters of people, we get 15% damage resist. So this makes them do less damage, and if they're using like solar or arc on me, something like that, then they do even more or less damage. It'll stack together with no diminishing returns happening. Leg piece, I got innovation on, so I pick up orbs of power, which I'm making all day with heavy-handed. I get some grenade energy back, so I can use grapple melee even more on top of the devour and Embo's light, give me regen on grenade quick anyway. We got on strand scavenger for more shotgun ammo. I have recuperation on because I was in activity that had bronze. I highly recommend that. That is a tip. If you go into a bronze activity, have on recuperation. I promise you, you will not regret it. Your health, making orbs as much as we do in this build, your health should never get low. Okay. But any other content, better already. Okay. We got on Reaper because we are spamming our class ability non-stop. So if I do get a kill with the shotgun, I make orb power. Powerful attraction on, pick up all the orbs around me. And then we got special finishers, so I can always make special ammo for my shotgun. That's the build, guys. Again, this one is definitely a skill selling, because you got to know how to keep your stats, your buffs on you when it comes to 20 seconds of combination below. Keeping enemies surrounded near you for Sentinel self buff. Know how to position your tangle so you can grapple melee non-stop on a boss to kill it immediately. You got to be quick with your finger work while doing it. You gotta grapple the tangle, grapple melee the boss, then shotgun with your 1-2 punch shotgun, and then grapple the tangle again, grapple melee him, shotgun again with the shotgun. So the 1-2 punch activate again, and then just keep doing that loop over and over again very quick. Okay. If you don't want to do the tangle method, you can put on navigator. Navigator is catalyst, making that you can put a grapple point in the air. You can grapple that grapple point all day and keep doing grapple melee, and then you can just run a shotgun in your secondary slot, double specials, and then just do that over and over again to nuke bosses, since you're mainly just punching all day. But that's the build, guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys as always. And until next time, stay up.